Is this a gentleman? Lady? How's everybody doing this evening?
We doing fine, champ. You ready for next week?
Ready? Yeah. I'm ready.
And what's up? Good morning. Happy Friday. Another episode of Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. This is your band guru. I am here with another helping of my crazy life and how I got from point A to point B. So I want to first off say thank you to everyone who's listened to the podcast and supports. I really appreciate you. This is not easy to get on here, and even though I'm in the comfort of my own home, sitting behind my computer and looking at my mic, and there's nobody else here in this room but me and my story. So it's still not easy because you have to you have to let your guard down even when you're telling your own story, which is cool. You have to do that, right? So this is episode 9. I know in episode 8, I kept saying episode 10, like I skipped the whole chapter. So, but it's my story. It's just like Star Wars, right? There are some sub stories, and I'll revisit those later. But I want to give you my story in chronological, and then I come back and give you the side stories. Again, for those of you, if this is your first time listening to this podcast and you're like, what this dude talking about? I'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about my life and how I want, my goal and my desire is to help other men or people in general, women too. I mean, it's not it's not all inclusive because we've all been through something and felt shame for it or whatever. Right? That is why we are here. You go through stuff and you learn. Okay. But I will make an announcement on this 9th episode of the Knucklehead Chronicles is that I started therapy yesterday. So I keep telling y'all this is just not for me. I mean, just not for y'all. This is for me too. And I went to my first therapy session. My doctor, she is amazing. She gave me the floor and kind of let me vent. And I took her to heaven and back in an hour that I had to put. I appreciate her. I think we have a long way to go. But she's great, and she was able to listen. So that I say that to say this: if you are listening to this and you're struggling emotionally, you need somebody to talk to, man, find your therapist, man. Especially if you got insurance. If you got pretty good insurance, man, go down there and get your therapist here and stop playing. Because mental health is a big thing now, and not enough people are taking advantage of the resources. So if you have the resources, go down there and get you a therapist. We're playing. All right, y'all. So let's buckle up. All right. Let's buckle up. Let's get into episode 9. Okay, check this out. So if you listen to the episode 8, I keep telling y'all, if you're new to this and you jumping in the middle of this story, you're going to have to go all the way back to episode 1 and catch up. All right. But I promise you, they're short. That's the reason why I do them at 30-minute intervals, because they're short. All right. So episode 9. Now, episode 9, this chapter right here in my life, this was back in 2013. Yeah, 2013. Now, mind you, me and my second wife, Strawberry, we split up, and we've been 10 years of marriage at that point. But that's neither here nor there. But we split up, and she didn't split. It wasn't a mutual split. she said, I'm out. I can't. Because like I told you guys in episode 8, I cheated on her with a young lady that ran in the same circles as us. And this young lady and I, it was pretty intense. It wasn't like, just someone, it wasn't a one night stand. Me and this young lady, we took it to the extreme, and it was like, it got to a point where we weren't even trying to hide it anymore. Now, like, she was married, but her husband was an abuser, and that was her escape. My wife, the Strawberry at the time, was an emotional abuser, kind of, sort of, or that's the way I saw her, or that's the way I wanted to see it, to be truthful. And that was my out to cheat, or that was my justification in my brain for cheating, and all of that. So, I mean, I'm going to get into some stories about the stuff that happened while I was with Strawberry, even with the older lady that I was with. We'll get into that in a sec. That's a backstory too. I completely missed that. I maybe didn't. No, I didn't. I hate it in episode 2 or 3. Okay, so she leaves. This is in June of 2013. I leave and I go live with my bestie from high school, my best friend, my homeboy, my shooter, my ace. Right? We hadn't seen each other in years, but I hit him up on Facebook, and I think I put up a post, and I was really sad because my life was in shambles at the time, and I put up a post on Facebook, and he responded. He said, "Man, what you doing? No, you can come and stay with me, man. Why you tripping?" I'm like, "Man, I don't know where you stay, whatever." So I go to Greensboro. Like I said in episode 8, I was being really selfish, and I was like, you can leave. That's your business, but I'm not going to watch you leave. So I left. I didn't help her pack. I didn't do none of that. I went and bought me a bus ticket, and I was gone. So I get to Greensboro. Now this is a dark part. This is a dark episode or part of my life. I get to Greensboro. Now, when I tell you guys my mental capacity at this point, I was completely shattered. Like, we talking suicide thoughts. We talking, I want to just take it out on the world. That, right? So I got to Greensboro to my guy's house, and I thought he was living okay. You know what I'm saying? He kept, kind of kept me updated about, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to go out, we're going to do this and that, and it's just like, if you guys remember when I left Chicago to go back to North Carolina, mess around with Minnie Pearl, and I told you about how I felt on that plane ride back to North Carolina. That's how I felt in this case, in this instant. So I get to his house, and he's got this old rickety house. It's like, if I can describe it, it's like someone picked up the house with a crane and dropped it back to the ground and split the house in two. And so if you are on one side of the house, you're on one hill, and then it peaks, and then they go down. You go to the other side of the house, then you go down to the downside of the hill. It was bad. It was very dark place. And so he came in, I get there. He's like, "Here's your room." You start looking for a job, da-da-da-da-da. I mean, his whole demeanor changed about me. And, but it didn't reveal himself. It didn't reveal itself until later, right? And I became a hobbit. I had a PS2. And my favorite game, I still play it to the day because that game got me through, right? I had a PS2, and I played a game called MLB Show. I still play it to the day. I always get the updated version every year. But I was a hobbit. And And when I say hobbit, I mean I was at home. I never left that room. I'm gonna tell you how bad it got. I don't want to get too graphic, but I'm gonna tell you how bad it got. To the point where I would not leave out of the room to go to the bathroom. That's how bad it was. What he would do was that he would go and, because he never cooked. It was very rare that they cooked. And I wasn't cooking. I was just not in the mental capacity to cook anything. I believe at this point in the game, I probably could have passed away and unalive myself, and I would have been okay with it at this point in my life. It was just bad. The stress of it all, living with somebody that I haven't seen in, 15 years, and the pressure, the stress, wondering what you're doing, wanting to be home, wanting to make things right. I had a lot of emotional stuff happening at this juncture. This podcast is actually therapeutic. But anyways, so I'm with him. I'm living with him, and I'm drinking like every day. Like I'm not a terrible drunk, but I drink, or I drank at the time. I did. I haven't drank it forever, but I drank that Pinnacle vodka. That was my drink of choice, and he would go to the ABC store, every other day, make a liquor run, and we would get drunk. And he would try to give me advice about life and this and that. But it was a ploy just to get me out of the room, because I'm telling you, I would not leave that room. And to the point where I had fast food cups in the room. And I would watch TV, because he did have cable. I would watch TV, I'll play the PlayStation, and I would just mope around in that room. And I would only leave out of the room when they were gone, him and his girlfriend. And they would leave in the mornings. He worked, I don't know what he worked at, and she worked with her mama. I don't know what she worked at either, but I know that for 5-6 hours out of the day, they were gone. And sometimes I believe he had two big pit bulls that I had to take care of, because he's like, his excuse was, well, if you're not going to leave the house, then you can watch the dogs. I'm like, all right, cool. These nasty, poopy dogs, whatever, man. And so there were times I would leave, go to the library and walk downtown Greensboro, and because where he lived right across the street from UNCG. So for those that don't know, I know that's UNC Greensboro, University of North Carolina in Greensboro, which was right across the street. And I stayed with him for about 3 months before I got my first job. And I worked at a little bar down the street from the house. I mean, literally, I can walk to work. And I was a part-time cook there. So I went in, and it was okay, right? I had to get out of the house. I was dying. I was literally dying because I wouldn't eat. When I lived with him, I drunk more than I ate. I think I might have ate twice a week, maybe, and that was by choice. It wasn't that it was no food in the house. It was his choice. And I just couldn't get it together, And mind you, me and Strawberry talked every day on the phone. Every day we talked. I think it was a bugging type of deal, but we talked every single day. But it was like we have conversations, and it would be so hopeful. Like, yeah, I got a chance, And one day, after all of that, no, I went up there. Okay, so let me go back a step. We split up in July, right? But we stayed in communication. Like I said, we talked every day. And so Christmas, of 2013, she allowed me to come up and visit. Now, it was me and just in this time, just struggling, right? And I go up now because the daughter that she had, it was Kiana, the daughter that she had, I helped her raise her. I loved her. That was like she was my daughter. When people used to ask me how many kids I got out, she would definitely be in the number. And this is the same one I went to high school graduation with, same one, that I messed up majorly with. But anyways, that's my MO, I suppose. So I go up to visit her in 2013. Now, this is just a break from, I didn't tell her the struggle I was going through. Not that she probably would have cared, but I didn't mention it. So 2013, I go up and still out of sorts. And what's funny is that I bought a one-way ticket because I just knew that she would take me back. I just knew it. I just knew that she was going to see me and I'm gonna charm her. I'm gonna charm her right out of her panties. She's gonna stay right there. She don't want me to stay and not want me to leave and all that. Funny, right? So I get there and it didn't happen. And she was like, "Okay, so when you going home?" You know what I'm saying? You're here for the moment. When you going home? And so I remember buying a bus ticket. Somebody, one of my friends from back home, they were my best friend in Kenya. I can't remember, but somebody sent me some bus fare money, and I bought me a Greyhound ticket from Chicago back home, and that was hard because it was like heartbreak all over again. Because I'm like, I came all this way, and you still gonna leave me hanging? Like, what? I don't get it. Thought you loved me. So I go on the bus to come back home, and he's there waiting, my best friend, right? So with him, it was just terrible. The whole situation, I should never went and lived with this man. To this day, and I got to tell you, and to this day, we haven't uttered a word to each other, but this is what happened. One day, we were sitting around the house, and, well, he got me out of my room that day, right? So I'm sitting around the house, and we just kind of chilling. We were playing one of those boxing games on the Xbox. And we were just having a good time. It was kind of a chill day. We had gotten some weather, so it was a little bit of snow, a little bit of ice, and he invited some friends over. The weather broke, right? The weather broke, and the sun came out, stuff started melting. It was that bipolar weather. So one in the morning it's a wintry storm. By 2:00 it's a heat wave. So he invited some friends over, and they all there. It's like 4 or 5 of them, and they get to drinking. Now this particular day, I wasn't drinking. I couldn't figure out why I wasn't drinking because I was drinking any other time, but I wasn't drinking. I didn't drink that day, but they did. They were drinking and smoking weed. I don't smoke weed because I can't. I suck at it. So they get drunk. We go outside, play a little football because it's hot in the house, right? Because of the way he was heating his house. He had the house was old in the dirt, right? So he was heating the house with like a wood heater or something. I can't remember, but it was hot. Remember that? And so we go outside because it's of course cooler outside because we had some weather. We're playing football. Things, they're starting to, the people that came in, his friends that came over didn't like me. They thought I was a freeloader because I didn't work. I stayed in the room. I ate their food, drank liquor. I didn't input anything into the home. Even though I had a little part-time job at the place, at the little pub or whatever, that it didn't matter. Nonetheless. So eventually the mood got weird. I'm not sure what happened exactly, but the mood got weird. The mood got weird AF. You understand? And he said something crazy, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something to the lines of, I need for you to go ahead and get out or something like that. I'm sure that's what it said, but I can't remember exactly. And I was like, okay, and they kept bullying me and bullying me and bullying me. And so finally I just snapped off. And I said, fuck all y'all. Excuse my French. Y'all make me sick. Y'all don't know what y'all doing. Y'all drinking. You go somewhere and calm down. You need to go home, whatever. The next thing I know, this dude pounces on me like Tigger. And I'm talking about Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. And he wasn't being jolly with it. I mean, he went for my neck. It's like I could have died, almost dead, And it's just one of those things in my life. I was just like, I cannot. Like, why? How did I get here? God, why? Just take me. At this point in the game, it was just take me. I'm over it. The ex-wife won't take me back. My family is non-existent. Nobody has extended their hand, offered to help. Nothing. My mama gone. I'm struggling. Straight up struggling in my life at this point. So who comes to my aid? My baby's mama. She come to my aid, and I actually moved back home, back to I think I moved in with my grandma for a little while. Somebody finally came through. But my baby mama, her mother had a tax business. And so I went down there to help her mother, run the tax office. I didn't do taxes or nothing like that. I was just, somebody to help out in the lobby, and, she paid me, to just be a presence. It wasn't nothing major. She did my taxes, this and that. So it was a pretty good arrangement. Now, mind you, and it's probably doesn't even need to be said, but I was still sleeping with her. I wouldn't say it was whatever, but it was she was baby mama. She was my first. This was my first sexual encounter. So of course we had that bond, right? Even though she had a boyfriend and all that, I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? I know that she still wanted me. So we had fun with it. But her mother took care, her mother paid me every week. We would go out as a group, and, in that moment in my life, that really helped me. And I never did get a chance to thank her for that, because it's so far behind in people's brains they don't even remember. But that helped me so much, because I was struggling. Like, I had no sense of worth, like, at all. Like, I didn't know. And so I guess I told you, me and Strawberry would still talk every day. And so one day she called me out of the blue. I was there in 2013. She called me in May of 2014. And she said, no, I get my dates wrong. 2000 and I'm getting my dates wrong. My bad. I left in 2014. So it was 2010. Sorry. She called me in 2010 and said, hey, now this is what I heard in my head. This is what I told my therapist yesterday. This is what I said. I said, what I heard was, hey, let's get back together and be a family. That's what I heard. But what she actually said was, you can come here, get on your feet, help, be a father to Kiana. And then once you get settled, once you get good, you can get your own spot or whatever. That's what she said. But what I heard was, hey, let's get together. Oh man, I tell you what. And I thought about it for a minute. I had a moment of, I don't know. In this moment, as much as I begged her, as much as I pleaded with her, at this point, I was like, I got a little bit of pause, and it took me a minute, right? But I said, okay, let's do it. Again, doing it under what I thought, doing it under what I heard, right? That could be dangerous, right? I'm doing it. And so June of 2010, I leave North Carolina again to go to Illinois. And I got to tell you guys, when I left North Carolina, I left whatever common sense I had back in North Carolina. I get to Chicago, and life turns into complete crap at this point. Now, I'm not going to get into the 4-year stretch in this episode. That's episode 10. That's the next one. Let me clarify some things in this episode. So the years I got mixed up, okay? So it was, I went up Christmas of 2009. 2009 I went up, and then she called me 2010 to come up. So that's, just so you know, the years were kind of mixed up. I kept saying 2014, but I eventually left Illinois in 2014. So I got the years mixed up. It was 2009 when I first went up for Christmas. And then I went up to stay thinking she wanted to be with me in 2010. So I'm going to cut it off right there, because chapter 10 is where it gets rocky, like legit. Because I say that I know people who listen and say, you say that every episode, which, well, the whole damn thing's a rabbit hole. Just keep listening. So the next 4 years really molded me as a man. Just to give you a little bit of a description of what the next 4 years were. When you go to the military, if anybody listening to this and they've been in the military, they say, well, we have to break you down first to build you up. That's what that was. That's what the next 4 years was like. Because I went through a breakdown period. It was bad. All right. But we'll get into it. Episode 10, next one. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate you. I love all of you guys. If my therapist is listening, I'm sorry. So, I really appreciate you. You guys can check out the podcast on all podcasting platforms. You can check out Buzzsprout.com/Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. Guys, check me out on TikTok too, at Knucklehead Chronicles. You can, and please, if you guys are following me, follow my wife on TikTok and Facebook. Her name on TikTok is Fighting for Change 2022. Follow her. She's a strong advocate. Love her for what she does and advocating for the kids and all. But yeah, I'm gonna go and get out of here. You guys have a great weekend. I got a big weekend ahead of me at work, so I'm gonna go and get to that. And so you guys have a great rest of your day. We will see you on the next episode. Knucklehead Chronicles. It's your man, the Guru, and I'm out.